What if I told you that the most powerful medicines on Earth were never discovered in a laboratory? They were growing in your backyard, buried in ancient texts, whispered about by healers long before modern science even existed. Right now, the global pharmaceutical industry is worth over $1.6 trillion. And yet, chronic disease rates have never been higher. More people are sick, medicated, and disconnected from their own bodies than at any point in human history. Something is deeply wrong with that picture. For thousands of years, across every civilization on this planet, from the Egyptians to the Mayans, from the ancient Chinese to the indigenous healers of the Amazon, human beings healed themselves using what the earth provided, and it worked. Not because people were naive or desperate, but because these plants contain biochemical compounds so sophisticated, so precisely engineered by nature, that modern science is only beginning to understand them. Today, I'm going to walk you through 20 of the most powerful healing plants ever documented. And I'm not just talking about folk remedies here. Number 7 on this list was actually studied by NASA, not for medicine, but for something far more extraordinary that I think will completely change how you look at plants forever. And number 20, this one barely gets talked about in the Western world, but it has been used by one of the longest living populations on Earth for over 2,000 years. If you are serious about taking your health back, your energy, your longevity, your body's ability to heal itself, then this video was made for you. Hit that subscribe button right now, because the content we put out on this channel goes deeper than anything you'll find elsewhere. And let's get into it. Number 1, turmeric, the golden healer. In ancient Ayurvedic texts dating back over 4,000 years, turmeric was described as the herb that cleanses all channels of the body. The Vedic priests used it in sacred rituals, not just as medicine, but as a symbol of purity and divine protection. And they were on to something extraordinary. Turmeric's active compound, curcumin, works by directly inhibiting NF-κB, a molecular switch that controls the genes responsible for chronic inflammation. When NF-κB is left unchecked, it drives conditions like arthritis, Alzheimer's, heart disease, and even cancer. Curcumin shuts that switch off. It also activates NRF2 pathways, flooding your cells with antioxidant enzymes your body produces naturally. The practical key here is absorption. Always combine turmeric with black pepper and a healthy fat. That combination increases curcumin bioavailability by up to 2,000%. Number 2, garlic, the stinking rose. In the Egyptian Ebers Papyrus, one of the oldest medical documents ever found, dating to 1550 BC, garlic appears in over 22 different healing formulas. Roman soldiers ate it before battle. Medieval Europeans hung it over doorways to ward off plague. And modern biochemistry has confirmed exactly why. When you crush or chop garlic, an enzyme called allinase converts a compound called alliin into allicin. Allicin is a sulfur-based molecule with extraordinary antimicrobial, antiviral, and antifungal properties. It also lowers LDL cholesterol, reduces arterial plaque, and inhibits the aggregation of platelets that cause dangerous blood clots. The trick is this: you must let crushed garlic sit for 10 minutes before cooking it. That waiting period allows full allicin activation, and it changes everything. Number 3, elderberry, the medicine chest of country people. The Roman physician Hippocrates called the elder tree his medicine chest. For good reason. For centuries, European village healers used every part of it, roots, bark, flowers, and berries, to treat everything from fever to nerve pain. Today, we know that elderberries are loaded with anthocyanins, the deep purple pigments that give the berry its color. These compounds bind directly to virus particles, physically blocking them from entering your cells. A landmark randomized trial published in the Journal of International Medical Research found elderberry extract reduced influenza duration by an average of 4 days. 4 days? That's not a placebo effect. That is targeted biochemical action. Elderberry also stimulates cytokine production, priming your immune system before a threat even arrives. Use it as a syrup, a tincture, or a concentrated extract at the first sign of illness. Number 4. Ashwagandha, the strength of a horse. Its Sanskrit name literally means smell of horse, referring both to its distinct aroma and its legendary ability to give you the strength and vitality of one. In the ancient Indian system of Rasayana, the science of rejuvenation, ashwagandha was prescribed to kings and warriors for longevity and peak mental performance. Its active compounds, with anolides, are steroidal lactones that directly modulate the HPA axis, the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal system, the master regulator of your stress response. When cortisol is chronically elevated, it destroys muscle tissue, suppresses immunity, disrupts sleep, and accelerates cellular aging, with anolides bringing cortisol back into range, naturally, without sedation. Multiple clinical trials have confirmed significant reductions in perceived stress, serum cortisol, and anxiety scores. Take it with warm milk and raw honey before sleep for compounding effect. Number 5. Ginger, the universal medicine. In Sanskrit, ginger was called Vishwabhesaj, which translates literally to the universal medicine. That title was earned. The ancient Chinese medical canon, the Sheneng Ben Kao Jing, documented ginger over 2,000 years ago for digestive disorders, respiratory infections, and inflammatory conditions. Ginger contains over 400 distinct bioactive compounds, but its most potent are gingerols and shogaols. These molecules inhibit the COX-2 enzyme, the same enzyme targeted by common anti-inflammatory drugs, but without the gastrointestinal damage those drugs cause. They also activate TRPV1 receptors in the gut, reducing nausea signals at the neurological source. Ginger has been shown in clinical trials to reduce muscle soreness by 25% post-exercise, lower fasting blood sugar, and accelerate gastric emptying. Fresh, raw ginger steeped in hot water daily is one of the simplest and most powerful habits you can build. Number 6. Holy basil, Tulsi, the incomparable one. In Hindu tradition, Tulsi is considered so sacred that no ritual is complete without it. For over 3,000 years, it has been grown in the center of family courtyards, believed to purify the air and protect the household from disease. Modern phytochemistry has revealed its secret. Tulsi is an adaptogen, meaning it helps the body adapt to multiple types of stress simultaneously: physical, chemical, and psychological. Its compounds, eugenol, rosmarinic acid, and ursolic acid, work synergistically to lower blood glucose, reduce cortisol, protect neurons from oxidative damage, and modulate immune response. Ursolic acid specifically activates AMPK, the master metabolic enzyme that regulates energy use at the cellular level, the same pathway activated by exercise and caloric restriction. Drink it as a daily tea, 3 cups, consistently, and give it 30 days before you judge it. Number 7. Chlorella, the plant NASA studied in space. Here it is. Number 7. And yes, NASA really did study this one. In the 1950s and 60s, NASA scientists investigated chlorella as a potential food and oxygen source for long-duration space missions, because a single gram produces more oxygen per hour than almost any other organism known. But what they also discovered was extraordinary. Chlorella contains a unique molecule called chlorella growth factor, or CGF, a nucleotide peptide complex found in its nucleus that accelerates cellular repair and regeneration at a speed that defies easy explanation. Chlorella also binds to heavy metals, mercury, lead, cadmium, through a process called phytochylation, pulling them out of tissues and organs through the digestive tract. In a world where we are exposed to more environmental toxins than at any point in history, this is not optional. It is essential. Start with a small dose and build slowly. Your body will thank you. Number 8. Milk thistle, the liver's guardian. Roman physician Pliny the Elder recorded in 77 AD that milk thistle juice mixed with honey was the best remedy for carrying off bile. He didn't know why it worked, but 2,000 years later, we do. Milk thistle's active compound, silymarin, is a flavonolignin complex that does 3 things simultaneously for your liver. It stabilizes hepatocyte membranes, preventing toxins from entering liver cells. It stimulates ribosomal RNA synthesis, actually accelerating the regeneration of damaged liver tissue. And it acts as a powerful antioxidant directly within liver cells, where oxidative stress is highest. Clinical studies in patients with alcoholic liver disease, non-alcoholic fatty liver, and even chemotherapy-induced liver damage have all shown measurable benefit from standardized silymarin extract. In a world of processed food and environmental chemicals, your liver is under siege daily. Protect it. Number 9. Moringa, the tree of life. In the Philippines, it's called malunggay. In Africa, it is called the tree that never dies. In ancient Mauryan Indian texts from 150 BC, it was documented as a treatment for over 300 diseases. That sounds like hyperbole until you look at the nutrition profile, gram for gram. Moringa leaves contain 7 times the vitamin C of oranges, 4 times the vitamin A of carrots, 4 times the calcium of milk, and 2 times the protein of yogurt. But beyond nutrition, moringa contains isothiocyanates and quercetin, compounds that reduce inflammatory markers, including TNF-alpha and IL-6 at the genetic expression level. It also lowers fasting blood sugar and reduces arterial oxidation. The simplest delivery method is moringa leaf powder, 1 teaspoon daily in water or smoothies. Grown at home in tropical climates, it is essentially free medicine. Number 10. Oregano oil. The Mediterranean warrior, the ancient Greeks named it Oros Ganos, meaning joy of the mountain. Hippocrates used it as an antiseptic and to treat respiratory and digestive ailments. He understood intuitively what biochemists now confirm. Oregano oil's primary compound, carvacrol, is one of the most potent natural antimicrobials ever studied. It disrupts the cell membrane of pathogenic bacteria, causing them to leak and die, without generating the antibiotic resistance that makes pharmaceutical antibiotics increasingly useless. Studies show it is effective against E. coli, Salmonella, Candida albicans, and even certain antibiotic-resistant strains of Staphylococcus. Thymol, its secondary compound, enhances mucosal immunity in the respiratory tract. Use high-quality wild oregano oil, diluted in olive oil, at the first sign of infection. This is your natural antibiotic. Number 11. Reishi mushroom, the mushroom of immortality. In ancient China, reishi was so rare and so revered that it was reserved exclusively for emperors and members of the royal court. Common people were forbidden from possessing it. The Taoists called it lingji, the herb of spiritual potency, and believed it opened a bridge between the physical and the divine. What makes reishi extraordinary is its collection of bioactive compounds, beta-glucans, triterpenes, and ganideric acids that work on multiple systems simultaneously. Its beta-glucans activate natural killer cells and macrophages, the frontline soldiers of your immune system. Its triterpenes inhibit the release of histamine, making it profoundly anti-allergenic. And its ganideric acids have demonstrated in published research the ability to inhibit tumor angiogenesis, cutting off the blood supply that feeds abnormal cell growth. Take it as a dual-extracted tincture, both water and alcohol extraction, to capture the full spectrum of its compounds. Number 12. Cat's claw, the vine of the soul. Deep in the Peruvian Amazon, the Ashaninka people have used this thorned vine for over 2,000 years. They called it uña de gato and considered it one of their most sacred medicines, reserved for the most serious illnesses. Its inner bark contains oxindole alkaloids, specifically isopteropodin and mitraphyllin, that modulate the immune system with a precision that still astonishes researchers. These alkaloids enhance phagocytosis, the process by which your immune cells literally engulf and destroy pathogens and cellular debris. Cat's claw also inhibits TNF-alpha production, one of the primary inflammatory cytokines implicated in autoimmune conditions like rheumatoid arthritis and Crohn's disease. Austrian scientist Klaus Keplinger dedicated decades of his career to studying this single plant and was awarded multiple patents for its alkaloid compounds. This is not folklore. This is frontier medicine hiding in the jungle. Number 13. Astragalus, the root of longevity. For over 2,000 years, astragalus has been one of the 50 fundamental herbs in traditional Chinese medicine. Ancient texts describe it as a superior tonic, meaning a medicine taken not to treat disease, but to prevent it from ever taking hold. Modern science has given us a remarkable explanation for why. Astragalus contains a compound called cycloestrogenol, which activates an enzyme called telomerase. Telomerase repairs and lengthens telomeres, the protective caps on the ends of your chromosomes that shorten every time a cell divides. Telomere shortening is one of the primary biological clocks of aging. When telomeres run out, the cell dies or becomes dysfunctional. Cycloestrogenol essentially rewinds that clock. TA65, a patented cycloestrogenol extract, has been licensed and sold for thousands of dollars per bottle. But standardized astragalus root extract, taken consistently, delivers the same foundational compound at a fraction of the cost. Number 14. Andrographis, the king of bitters. In Ayurvedic medicine, it was called kalmeg, meaning dark cloud, a reference to its intensely bitter taste and its reputation for sweeping disease from the body like storm clouds clearing the sky. In Scandinavia, andrographis was used during the 1919 influenza pandemic to reduce mortality rates. And the data from that period, combined with modern clinical trials, paints a compelling picture. Andrographis's primary compound, andrographolide, inhibits viral replication by blocking the NF-κB and AP1 transcription pathways, the exact mechanisms viruses use to hijack your cells and reproduce. A systematic review of 33 clinical trials concluded it significantly reduces the severity and duration of upper respiratory infections. It also protects the liver, stimulates bile production, and has demonstrated a measurable anti-cancer activity in cell studies. It is aggressively bitter, but that bitterness is the medicine itself. Capsule form makes it accessible for daily use. Number 15. Feverfew, the medieval migraine miracle. In medieval England, feverfew was planted along the walls of homes and monasteries. The herbalists of that era documented it specifically for pain of the head so violent it cannot be borne. That description sounds unmistakably like a migraine, and they were exactly right. Feverfew's active compound, parthenolide, inhibits the release of serotonin from platelets and the synthesis of prostaglandins, two of the primary biochemical triggers of migraine headache. It also blocks the activation of NF-κB in smooth muscle cells lining cerebral blood vessels, preventing the inflammatory cascade that causes vascular dilation and throbbing pain. A landmark British clinical trial published in The Lancet showed that patients who took feverfew daily experienced a significant reduction in migraine frequency and severity compared to placebo. For anyone suffering from chronic migraines, this plant deserves serious attention. Fresh leaves, capsules, or tincture, consistency is the key. Number 16. Black seed, the remedy for everything except death. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is recorded in the Hadith as saying that black seed, Nigella sativa, is a remedy for every disease except death. That statement, made over 1,400 years ago, is now being scrutinized with extraordinary scientific interest. Black seed contains a compound called thymoquinone, one of the most heavily researched natural molecules of the past 2 decades. Thymoquinone has demonstrated anti-cancer, anti-diabetic, anti-inflammatory, antifungal, and neuroprotective properties in published literature. It modulates over 150 biochemical pathways, a level of systemic influence that no single pharmaceutical drug comes close to matching. It lowers blood glucose by enhancing insulin sensitivity. It reduces tumor markers in multiple cancer cell lines. And it protects neurons from amyloid beta accumulation, the same protein deposits that characterize Alzheimer's disease. Cold-pressed black seed oil, 1 teaspoon daily, is one of the most powerful habits on this entire list. Number 17. Lion's mane mushroom, the brain builder. In ancient Japan and China, Buddhist monks consumed lion's mane before long periods of meditation and deep study. They called it Yamabushi-take, after the Yamabushi mountain-dwelling monks known for their extraordinary mental clarity and focus. What those monks could not have known is that lion's mane contains two unique classes of compounds found nowhere else in nature, hericenones and erinacines. These molecules are small enough to cross the blood-brain barrier, and once inside, they directly stimulate the production of nerve growth factor, or NGF. NGF is the protein responsible for the growth, maintenance, and survival of neurons. A landmark Japanese clinical trial in elderly patients with mild cognitive impairment showed significant improvements in cognitive scores after 16 weeks of lion's mane supplementation, with scores declining again after they stopped taking it. This is neurological medicine growing on the side of trees, dual extracted, always. Number 18. Pau d'Arco, the tree of the Incas. Deep in the rainforests of South America, the inner bark of the tababuya tree was used by the Incas as a treatment for infections, fever, and what ancient healers described as the disease that eats from within, a description that today we might recognize as cancer. Pau d'Arco's primary compound is lapachol, a naphthoquinone that disrupts the electron transport chain of fungal cells, essentially suffocating candida and other fungal pathogens at the mitochondrial level. Beta-lapachone, a related compound, has shown in cell studies the ability to selectively trigger apoptosis in tumor cells while leaving healthy cells unharmed. That selectivity is the holy grail of cancer medicine, and this rainforest tree has been doing it biochemically for millennia. It also demonstrates potent antiviral activity against influenza and herpes simplex viruses in laboratory settings. Brew it as a bark tea, slow simmered for 20 minutes, to extract its full power. Number 19. Triphala, the three-fruit formula. In Sanskrit, tri means three, and phala means fruit. Triphala is a precise combination of three fruits, amalaki, bibitaki, and haritaki, used in Ayurvedic medicine for over 1,000 years as the foundational formula for long-term health and longevity. And modern research is validating every claim the ancient texts made. Together, these three fruits contain a concentration of tannins, flavonoids, saponins, and vitamin C that collectively support digestive motility, reduce intestinal inflammation, feed beneficial gut bacteria, and stimulate the liver's phase 1 and phase 2 detoxification pathways. Haritaki specifically activates autophagy, the cellular self-cleaning process by which your body breaks down and recycles damaged proteins and dysfunctional organelles. Autophagy is the biological mechanism at the heart of fasting's health benefits, and Haritaki activates it without requiring you to starve. Take Triphala powder in warm water each night before sleep, and give your gut to the ancient reset it was designed for. Number 20, Jiaogulan, the herb of immortality from the mountains of southern China. And here we are, number 20, and I have saved the most extraordinary for last. In the remote mountain villages of Guizhou province in southern China, researchers conducting a longevity survey in the 1970s discovered something that stunned them. The local population had an extraordinarily high proportion of people living past 100 years old, with near zero rates of heart disease, cancer, or cognitive decline. When they investigated what was different about these villages, they kept finding one thing: a wild climbing vine the locals called Jiaogulan, brewed daily as a tea. Jiaogulan contains over 100 distinct saponins called gypinosides, which are structurally similar to the ginsenosides found in ginseng, but with a broader and more complex pharmacological profile. Here is what makes Jiaogulan the most breathtaking plant on this entire list. It activates AMPK, AMP-activated protein kinase, the master metabolic regulator of the body, with a potency comparable to metformin, the most widely prescribed diabetes drug in the world. AMPK activation improves insulin sensitivity, triggers fat metabolism, stimulates mitochondrial biogenesis, reduces arterial inflammation, and has been directly linked to extended lifespan in multiple organisms studied. Jiaogulan also significantly elevates superoxide dismutase, or SOD, your body's most powerful endogenous antioxidant enzyme, the one that neutralizes the free radicals that damage DNA and accelerate aging at the cellular level. The villagers of Guizhou didn't have doctors. They had a vine. They had knowledge passed down through generations. They had this tea every single morning, and they lived to 100 in vibrant health. If that doesn't make you stop and rethink everything you've been told about aging and medicine, I don't know what will. Nature has the answers. It has always had the answers, long before there were patents and profit margins and prescription pads. There were plants. There were healers who spent their entire lives learning the language of the earth, passing that knowledge down through generations, through cultures, through sacred texts, through whispered traditions that modern civilization has done everything in its power to make us forget. But here is what I want you to hold on to after watching this video. Knowledge without action is just entertainment. So pick one plant from this list, just one. Commit to it for 30 days. Learn it deeply, source it carefully, use it consistently, and pay attention to what your body tells you. Now, this brings me to something that I consider absolutely non-negotiable. Quality matters. It matters more than almost anything else when it comes to plant medicine. A cheap turmeric powder with no curcumin standardization is not medicine. A reishi supplement extracted only in water misses half its active compounds. A black seed oil that has been heat processed has lost its thymoquinone. The difference between a plant that changes your life and a capsule that does nothing is almost always quality. Source organic, source whole, source as close to the original plant as possible. Your body deserves the real thing. If this video gave you something valuable today, share it with someone you love. Subscribe to this channel because we go deeper every single week. And remember, the most powerful pharmacy on earth has been growing beneath your feet all along. Don't ignore it.